Well, welcome back to the Pulse of St. Louis. If you've ever been a mentor to a child or a teen or had someone serve as your mentor, you know it can make a tremendous difference. Well, a new mentoring initiative recently launched, and it's designed to help boys between the ages of 10 and 14. Joining us to talk about it, we have Kristen Slaughter. She's the Big Brothers and Big Sisters CEO and President. Dr. Calvin Adams, the Mentors Matter Committee Chair. He's also the CEO and President of the St. Louis Community Foundation, and you probably recognize him from being former Superintendent of St. Louis Public Schools. And Jamal Bailey, the Mentoring Program Director. Good to have all of you here in studio with us.
Thank you.
Great to be here. Jamal, I'm going to start with you. Big Brothers Big Sisters of Eastern Missouri, synonymous with mentoring, with its services and programs. But this is a new initiative, and I think what's interesting is that we're talking about a specific age group between 10 and 14 years old, boys. What is unique or special about that age group?
What's special about that age group is that they're developing their why. They're developing who they are. And this is the age where we really want to get them and give them positive relationships as well as positive experiences. I'm an advocate for mentorship, obviously, and I was mentored myself as a young man. So I'm really, this program is very special to me. Our kids are being mentored by professional mentors that go through various amount of training. They also see the kids a minimum of 2 hours a week, and they have a caseload of 10 kids. So we have our 50 kids in our program. We currently are getting kids off our waiting list, but we're just in the process of really helping the kids, develop the kids, and just being a positive role model in their lives and creating positive relationships with our young men.
You said a waiting list, so there is a need and demand for these mentors.
Yes, ma'am. It's a very much needed demand. I mean, that's one of the reasons why this program was created. Our agency took that upon themselves to create an opportunity to expand our programs because we have, and it's just a society issue, it's hard to find people of color to mentor young men. Whether it's varied things going on in the community, but we want to make sure that we provide an opportunity for our young men to be able to get mentored by professionals. And like I said before, our professionals are trained. They go through various trainings to really help build those relationships with those young men.
And Dr. Adams, you can speak from your tenure at St. Louis Public Schools, 14 years. Tell us in your experience what you observed from this particular group and how important it is to have.
Yeah, first of all, thank you again for giving us the opportunity to be here. In my 14 years as superintendent, one of the challenges for me was the challenge of really providing resources and support for kids, but they didn't always have that level of support at home. Obviously, a lot is going on at home, and so the notion in this particular program is to try to make sure that we're providing some support at a 1 to 10 ratio. We did some research around it, visited some cities to look at what they were doing, came back and reached out to Big Brothers and Big Sisters and other entities as well, and thought that Big Brothers and Big Sisters would be the best place for this program to be housed. And so the advisory committee looked at Big Brothers and Big Sisters to look at the systems they already have in place. But as Jamal has already indicated, after 14 years as the superintendent of the St. Louis Public School District, there were gaps of what we could do to really impact young people's lives. There are short-term interventions that take place, but this is a long-term intervention for the next 4 years, and these mentors are being paid to support these kids at a 10 to 1 ratio because we know that it can have a great impact on supporting them.
There's that mentoring gap that we talk about for that particular age group. What specifically would these mentors provide them? Tell us about, walk us through like the training and what would happen, Jamal.
So, I mean, the training is like trauma-informed training. They have training on building relationships, best practices. But, I mean, the key to anything when it comes down to mentoring is really building the relationships. That's really the key. That's a lot of training that they have. And they go through various things. We've actually talked to other people, other agencies, and we really have been trying to be informed about best practices. So we can kind of walk through, like, basically they'll have a kid. We provide transportation. They'll be able to pick the kid up and literally spend a minimum of 2 hours each week with each child. So our dosage is different.
And you realize that 2 hours can make a huge difference, Kristen. Yeah. Can you talk about how this fits into the greater mission of Big Brothers Big Sisters Eastern Missouri?
Absolutely. So Big Brothers Big Sisters has been in the community for 110 years.
Yeah.
110. And what we've really realized is that we have to continue to think about the way we do our programs. And what we heard from our community was that we need more mentors and the professional mentors to be in the lives more often, and especially individuals that look like them. And so what we really began to see, as Dr. Adams talked about, is that all the research shows is that the more time you're spending with them and longer term, those are where you get to see the biggest outcomes. And what Dr. Adams talked about was we're not just staying with them through high school graduation, we're staying with them till the age 25. And we're not just giving them the one mentor in their life, we're really surrounding them with a village. And that's really the biggest piece to all of this. So we're so excited about this program kicking off with 50, but we hope to come back in a year and say it's at 100, 150, et cetera. So we're thrilled to keep innovating with our programs.
Dr. Adams, you were mentored yourself, I had read. Tell us about that experience, and you've obviously have become very accomplished in your career, how that made a difference for you. And it's just, talk about the emotional impact of that.
Yeah, I would not be here today but for mentors providing support to me when I played basketball, when I went away to college. There were people who were always there providing guidance and support. And so I would not be here but for that kind of mentoring. And it's really, as Jamal and Kristen has already indicated, it's about building a relationship. On today, 2 years ago, a shooting happened at one of our schools. The young man did not have a mentor. So part of the emphasis for doing this is to try to make sure that we could provide that kind of support to young people such that they're not thinking that they don't have someone that they can talk to and someone who can listen to them. And so I think it's a critical component, especially in the city of St. Louis when there's so many needs. In addition to that, I was a big brother as well in my time as superintendent. I never had enough time to provide the kind of intense time that I wanted to with the two little bigs that I supported. And so this is an opportunity to shift that and provide intense support over a prescribed period of time, 2 to 3 hours a week, as he indicated, a month rather. And so it gives them 2 or 3 hours a week with the idea of 8 to 10 hours a month, such that we are providing the kind of support and a listening ear for kids such that they know that they have someone that could support them.
So important to feel supported and heard, and you bring up a great point about CBPA.
Yes.
2 years ago. Jamal, if people are interested, what do they need to know? You all mentioned, 2 hours a week, but tell us about the training and who you're looking for and what they need to know if they want to contact Big Brothers Big Sisters Eastern Missouri.
That's right. I think if you want to contact Big Brother Big Sister, you can go to our website. We have a caveat of programs to offer to anybody that's looking, anybody that wants to volunteer. That's the first step. What we're primarily looking for in our program is just we're trying to help any kid that we possibly can. We have a waiting list of kids that have already expressed they want mentorship. So those are kids that we're starting off in the process. And like Kristen said earlier, we're going to start off with 50, and we hope to come back and say we have 200, 150, whatever that number is. We want to help as many kids as we possibly can through this program because it's such a great opportunity for our kids to be able to really be around positive role models in the community.
Have you heard, I know it's only not even been a month, but what have you heard so far? The latest initiative.
The kids have had a lot of positive relationships. We had a kickoff a couple weeks ago, signing day, which was part of our kickoff. The kids enjoyed it. The community came out. We had things all the way from a DJ to a 360 booth, to games, to great food, great environment, and great family feel. And like Kristen stated earlier, we want to make sure that our kids feel a part of a family and a part of a tribe. And Dr. Adams always says, like, you want kids to have that clubhouse feel. We want to make sure that we incorporate kids so they know that they're a part of something so much bigger than just the one-off relationships that they have.
All right. Well, thank you so